Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Robloxian Stories. So I already covered the Adopt Me episode explaining the backstory of Adopt Me and what happened to Luke, and I already did a Brookhaven episode explaining what I thought and what videos thought of Mr. Brookhaven. And it's now time for those 3 horror stories. Alrighty, here we go. Get into bed, turn off the lights, and listen. It's time for a scary story. So, today, audience, I'm going to tell you 3 scary night shift worker stories that you shouldn't tell in the dark. Here we go. Story 1. The haunted school situation. This one time when I was in college, I worked at this creepy abandoned school called West Trunks Elementary. First night on the job wasn't really too serious. I just had to walk around the school at night and just try to find things spooky. It wasn't really too hard. I did find some creepy stuff, like lights turned on when I swore I turned them off, but it didn't go long before I started to hear some whispers. Although I don't think really much of it. But I do look all over the school to see if there's a burglar or something else by there. And then soon I come across the back of the auditorium, and I never discovered that before. And soon I find a ladder that goes up to the roof, but I decide to ignore it and change the stage settings. And then I find the light settings and just try to change them up, but I eventually give up. And then I had to close the curtain. And then it was time to continue my shift. I ran out of the curtains before they automatically closed, and I continued my night shift job. Alrighty, and then I got my flashlight out and started investigating people. Started investigating places. Pardon me. Anyway, so, I didn't find anyone or anything unusual, but then I heard more noises and I just ignored them because why not? And then there was more noises and I just ignored them because this is a school and I was alone. And then I went to the principal's office to see if the noise was coming from there. No one was in the principal's office, obviously. I looked in chemistry, no one was in there. Math, no one was in there. Social studies, no one was in there. And then I began to go paranoid because I couldn't find anyone or anything. And then I looked up on the stage where the principal gave announcements. No one was there. Maybe the principal of the ghost of the last principal was here and was giving a speech to her ghost students. I don't really know. And then I was just keep on looking for something that could help me. And then I heard a scary, really bad noise. But then I realized it was coming from the roof, so I decided to go up the ladder, unequipped my flashlight, and go up to the roof. I stuck it, and I was like, it's daytime. Oh, so it's the end of my shift. So then I was like, hallelujah, I survived. Thank God. And then I decided, and I was like, nah, why go down the ladder when I could find a cooler way to go? Down, up, down. I don't really know. I forgot. I was losing my mind in the school, so I was like, let's see. A hospital. There are doctors nearby, and doctors are blankets, I thought to myself ignorantly. And I was like, okay, here we go, Geronimo. Ow, I said to myself because that hurt so bad. I just fell like 50 feet. I was in the hospital for a few days. I got fired and eventually expelled. And that's why I don't go to school. But, well, nobody goes to school anymore anyway. Time for the next story. Story 2. The pizza problem. So, when I was in high school, I was working at my school to make money because I was unemployed and a freeloader and I had to buy my groceries. I had been looking around for a little bit and I soon got hungry, so I decided to order some pizza. And I just decided to continue to look around the school until the pizza arrived. When the pizza finally arrived, I went to greet the guy, but then realized I left my fucking wallet in the principal's office, so I went to go get that real quick. When I finally found my wallet, I went to go pay the guy, but then he wasn't there. I couldn't fucking find him anywhere, so I was looking all over the damn school for him. But I did turn on a lot of the lights that I turned off, so that was kind of awful. Kind of made me feel like I was not needed. And then I was turning off every light in the damn school. And then I heard someone say,
"Looking for me, bitch?"
I turned around to see it was the pizza guy. He was holding an axe and looking pissed off. He said,
"You're gonna get all the valuables in this goddamn school and give them to me. If you do as you're told, no one would get hurt."
but if I didn't, he was gonna try to find the locations of all the students in the fucking school, including the teachers, and kill them. I thought nothing of it since he couldn't possibly find the locations of all the students, but then I remembered the principal kept files with the students' addresses in the school. Because I was too scared to speak, I couldn't tell him that I was just the night guard for the evening and didn't know where the teachers kept their valuables. It was only just me and the janitor in the school. I ran to one classroom and found a bunch of valuable diamond rings and stuff, but the pizza guy only crossed his arms. I got to another classroom, praying that there'd be something valuable inside, but before I could even open the fucking door, the main door to the school got kicked down and I saw a bunch of police officers tackling the man. I was in complete shock, as I didn't have a chance to call the police. It turns out the janitor had saw everything and called the police. As for the delivery guy, the police concluded that he was having a manic episode and was booked into a mental hospital. I fear the day he gets out. Story 3. Night Shift from Hell. When I was a freshman in college, I was struggling to make some extra money. I mean, all the well-paying jobs gave to people who were 18 and up, and I was only 16. Eventually, a friend of mine encouraged me to get a night shift gig, and she made so much money a week just by looking after her school or something or whatever. That sounded way better than making 5 cents a month by sitting in a fucking hot kitchen making burgers like I had been doing. I went to work and did my first night on the job, and it was that simple. It wasn't that hard, really. All I had to do was just look around the school, and I didn't find really anything for too much. I was just looking around the school, like always. I went into the study hall / detention, didn't really find anything. And then I looked again and didn't find anything. And then I looked in the teacher's lounge where I could eat my dinner, or my lunch, or my breakfast, or whatever. And then I decided to continue my shift. I checked the music room to see if there was anything else, checked the girls' bathroom and the boys' bathroom, but there was nothing there. Soon, my suspicions grew and I began to hear noises. I was becoming paranoid, so I was checking everywhere I could think of. The bathrooms, the theater, the downstairs, the upstairs, everywhere. I couldn't leave this place even if I wanted to. This place was creepy as hell. I then walked into the gymnasium and I was shocked at what I saw. I then saw a random guy. He looked around in his 50s and was wearing some all-white clothes. It was creepy. I couldn't even think straight and I just ran out of there as fast as I could. I was running left and right. I was gonna run up the stairs, but then I thought it would be too long, and I just hid in the janitor's closet and called the police. It turned out that ghost that I had saw was the ghost of a teacher. The police even said that I was lucky to be alive. I was not able to work another night shift after that. The school then had to get a proper security guard after the incident. I sure do hope you've enjoyed this episode of Robloxian Stories. Sleep tight.